My son was dying in my arms and every hospital turned us away. No insurance meant no treatment, even for a 6-year-old with 104-degree fever who couldn't stop vomiting. I was sitting in my car outside the 4th emergency room, watching him fade, when my phone rang with a blocked number. The voice said 3 words that saved his life. Go to Mercy General. My name is Nathan Cross. I was a construction foreman in Phoenix until my company went bankrupt and took our health insurance with it. The cheapest plan I could find was $900 a month. We were living paycheck to paycheck. I told my wife Annie we'd just be careful until I found a new job with benefits. 3 weeks later, our son Tyler got sick. Started with a fever and headache. By Thursday morning it was 102 and his neck hurt. We took him to urgent care. The doctor said it was probably a virus, charged us to $140, and said if it got worse, go to the emergency room. That night, Tyler's fever spiked to 104. He was vomiting, crying that his head felt like it was exploding. We rushed to Desert Valley Hospital. The triage nurse asked for insurance. I said we didn't have any, but this was an emergency. She said they were on divert status. Wait time was 7 hours, and it would cost over $15,000. She suggested we try another hospital. I stood there holding my dying child, and this woman was telling me to go somewhere else because we couldn't pay. Tyler vomited on the floor. They handed me paper towels. I drove to Canyon Ridge Medical Center. 35 minutes with Tyler getting worse in the back seat. Same nightmare. No insurance. 6-hour wait. $12,000 to $20,000. Try somewhere else. I tried SD. Luke's next. Same story. Tyler's fever was 104.5. He was barely conscious. Annie was begging me to do something. I sat in that parking lot and prayed even though I hadn't prayed since I was a kid. That's when my phone rang. Blocked number. A man's voice, calm and quiet, said Nathan Cross. Your son has bacterial meningitis. Every minute counts. Go to Mercy General Hospital downtown. Ask for Dr. Sarah Kelvin. Tell her Robert sent you. Go now. The line went dead. Annie asked who it was. I said someone just told me Tyler had meningitis and where to go. She said how would they know? I said I didn't know, but we tried everything else. I drove, breaking every speed limit, running red lights. Tyler wasn't responding anymore. We pulled up and a team was waiting. They took Tyler from my arms. A nurse stopped us from following while they stabilized him. At registration, I told them a man named Robert told me to ask for Dr. Sarah Kelvin. The clerk looked at me strangely, made a phone call. A woman in a white coat came out. Dr. Sarah Kelvin asked me to repeat what I'd said. I told her about the call. Her face went pale. She asked what number, what time. Then she told me to sit down. She said Tyler did have bacterial meningitis and they were starting antibiotics. If we'd waited another hour, he'd be dead. Then she said Robert was her husband. He died 3 years ago. I thought I misheard. She repeated it. Robert Kelvin had been a doctor at Mercy General for 27 years. Bacterial meningitis was his specialty. He died of a heart attack 3 years ago. She said this wasn't the first time. For other families had shown up asking for her, saying Robert sent them. All had critically sick children being overlooked elsewhere. All survived because they came to Mercy General in time. She said she tried to trace the calls. Always blocked numbers. No connections between families. Just desperately sick children and impossible phone calls from a dead doctor. She said she'd stopped trying to understand it. She just stayed ready when those calls led someone to her door. Tyler was in the hospital for 6 days. The meningitis was caught just in time. Another hour, and he would have had brain damage or died. The antibiotics worked. He recovered. On day 5, Dr. Kelvin said she needed to tell me about the bill. I braced for $100,000 minimum. She said it had been taken care of. Mercy General had a charity care program. Tyler's entire treatment was covered. 0 cost. I started crying. She said that's what Robert would have wanted. 2 weeks later, I got a letter. Tyler's itemized bill, $168,000. Amount covered by charity care, $168,000. Amount owed $0. At the bottom was a note, Robert's Fund, established in memory of Dr. Robert Kelvin to ensure no child is ever turned away for inability to pay. A man we'd never met, dead for 3 years, had guided us to the right hospital at the exact moment and set up a fund that paid for everything. I started asking questions. I found 3 other families who'd gotten the same mysterious calls. Every story was identical. Desperately sick child, hospitals turning them away. Mysterious call from Robert. All saved just in time. I decided to tell the story. Local news interviewed us. The segment went viral. 3 state legislators contacted me. They introduced a bill requiring hospitals to treat all emergency patients regardless of insurance. Before discussing payment, Tyler's Law. It passed 8 months later. Mercy General sought $1 million in donations to Robert's Fund. Dr. Sarah Kelvin expanded the charity care program. I found a job with benefits. Tyler is thriving now, a healthy kid who loves soccer and doesn't remember the worst week of his life. Annie, and I remember every second. I played the voicemail for Drive. Kelvin. She went still and started crying. She said it sounded exactly like Robert. Same tone, same calm certainty he had when he knew he was right. I don't know if I believe in ghosts or miracles. What I know is my son was dying and someone called with information no living person should have known and sent me exactly where I needed to be. That call saved Tyler's life and exposed a system that lets children die based on their parents' bank accounts. Tyler asks me sometimes about that night. I'll tell him the full story when he's older. About the hospitals that turned us away. About the phone call from a dead doctor. About a fund established in that man's memory. That kindness echoes beyond death, and his job is to live a life worthy of the gift he was given. Somewhere tonight, a parent is sitting in a hospital parking lot being told they have to wait or pay or leave. Somewhere a kid is dying because people are calculating costs instead of saving lives. Tyler survived because impossible grace intervened. But grace shouldn't be required. Basic human decency should be enough. Tyler is alive because someone who loved helping children couldn't stop even after death. I don't need to understand how that's possible. I just need to make sure it meant something. Children die in the richest country on earth because their parents can't afford to save them. Dr. Robert Kelvin saved lives for 27 years while living and somehow keeps saving them still. If you're ever in that parking lot, desperate and hopeless, remember that grace exists. Sometimes dead doctors call with directions to miracles. Sometimes a stranger's kindness from beyond the grave becomes the only thing standing between your child and death. Hold on, you fight. The call might come. The help might arrive. It did for us. Don't let my son's story be rare. Let it be the beginning of a world where no parent has to pray for supernatural intervention to save their child's life because love and purpose can transcend anything, even death itself, if the will is strong enough. And now I want to ask you something that matters. What do you think about what happened to us? Do you believe it was truly Robert reaching out from beyond? Or do you think there's a rational explanation we just haven't found yet? More importantly, have you or someone you know ever been turned away from medical care because of money? Have you ever had to choose between your health and your bank account? Or watch someone you love suffer because treatment was too expensive? This isn't just my story. It's happening to families every single day across this country. So tell me in the comments below, what's your opinion on a healthcare system that makes parents beg for their children's lives? What would you have done in my situation? And if you've experienced something similar, or if you believe in miracles like the one that saved my son, share your story. Your voice matters. Your experience matters. Let's start a conversation that might save the next child who needs it. Comment below right now.